The first element that we're going to tackle is that of chord vocabulary. Now, if you're like most guitarists, when you begin, you learn a bunch of chords in open position, maybe a C, a G, a D, E's very popular, as is A. Now, I've chosen those chords specifically, not only because they're very popular guitar chords, because they're easy to play in open position, but they also form what's known as the caged system of three-note chords, or based on a three-note triad. Caged just simply comes from the 5 different shapes, the first being the C, the second being the A, the third being G, the fourth being E, and the fifth being D. Then, as you progress, to your delight, one day you probably discover bar chords, and the fact that these things are related to the open shapes by simply shifting them up and down the neck as appropriate, changing the pitch, changing the tonal center, but for all intents and purposes playing the same chord. So a C chord in open position can become an F chord at the 5th fret, and you're essentially just taking a C chord, playing it with your second, third and fourth finger, and using your fourth finger to bar at the 5th fret. It's like shifting the nut of the guitar up, if you like, or using your first finger like a capo, for example. The second set of chords in the A shape, so you take the open A position there and you shift it, you do the same thing. You use your first finger as you would a capo. For G, that one's not so obvious, but it's effectively that position there, if you like. If that's the G, with using the nut as the bar, then you can shift that. It's a little awkward to play in full, but you get the idea. An E, well, that's very popular. It's probably one of the first movable shapes that you learn. And the last, finally, the D, not so obvious, but from here, if you appreciate that you can use the 5th and 4th strings in the open position, then you can get that shape there. Now that, for a lot of guitarists, is as far as they take their learning of chords, which is a shame because the harmonic palette is so rich that to limit yourself to what are, for all intents and purposes, 3-note chords can be a little stultifying, if you like, especially as far as creativity is concerned. So, just as caged is a system, just as caged is a system of chords, there are other systems of chords exist on the guitar, and one of those is known as drop 2 voicings. Now, drop 2 voicings, which is what we're going to learn about in the first of the series on chord vocabulary, are in fact 4-note chords. So it takes the basic triad of a major chord. Say for a C chord you have the notes C, E and G, and when you're playing an open C chord, that's all you're playing. For all of the 6 strings that you're strumming, you're generating only 3 distinct notes, albeit some of them are in different octaves, they're repeated in different octaves, you effectively just have a 3-note chord. So here you have a G, which is the 5th, you have the C, which is the root, you have an E, which is the 3rd, you have an open G, which is an octave above the low G, you have another C, which is an octave above the low C, and you have an E, which is an octave above the low E.